Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my Best in Beauty 2018. So I've been watching a lot of the videos go up and I know that a lot of people are doing Best in Beauty 2018 for beauty products that just launched in 2018. I know that those people have been in this, beauty realm for quite some time. I also know that I have a plethora of things that I tried this year, some brand new stuff that I tried this year, and I really wanted to talk about all of them. There aren't very many repeats from my last year's Best in Beauty, which I will link up in the cards, but I did have a lot to talk about, and a lot of it maybe came out this year, but probably didn't come out yet this year. They're just things that I wanted to talk about. So I do have a pretty extensive list. Just a disclaimer, just because I think that it's awesome doesn't mean that you're going to think that it's awesome. Just because I think that it's awesome doesn't mean that you have to think that it's awesome. It just means that it worked really well for me. I found that I kept going back to it time and time again, and I found that it was the best product for me for the last year. I also am not including palettes in this. I do have a separate video in which I list my top 5 palettes of 2018, so there won't be any palettes in this. I do talk about some eyeshadows that I did try out that were my favorites in certain aspects of eyeshadowery. But I'm not talking about palettes in this video. So if you're here for palettes, I'm super sorry, but they're not in this video. I will have a later date video going up very shortly in regards to my top 5 palettes of the year. So with that being said, I have a lot of stuff sitting in front of me, so let's jump in. I tried to go in order, but I know that there's not very much order here, but there is a little bit more rhyme or reason to this video than there was in my 2017 video. So I hope we can get through it rather quickly. I do have most of these items here, and for the items that I don't have, I will put a picture up. So the first thing I want to talk about was blush. I do actually have 2 formulas of blush that I found myself going back to this year, and that is the Tarte Amazonian Clay blush, the 12-hour blush, and this one happens to be a deluxe sample size that I got in a birthday gift from Sephora, and it's not one that I typically use, but the other ones that I have are in larger palettes, so I didn't feel like bringing them out, but it is in the shade Party. This is the deluxe sample size of the Tarte Amazonian Clay formula. This is probably my favorite formula of blush because it goes on, it stays on, it lasts forever, it's pretty pigmented. Although I can also go in with a light hand and build it up if I want to. It doesn't go straight onto my face in this like uber pigmented fashion that I have a hard time blending out. It just goes on so beautifully and lasts a long time. I mean, the 12 hours that it says it lasts, it pretty much does. I don't find that it brings out any texture in my face, and I really just kind of love that formula. The other one for me is the Laura Geller Baked Blush and Brighten formula. This one is in the shade Cherry Truffle. I do believe that this is a color that is no longer available, but I also got one in a BoxyCharm not that long ago that's like Tropic Hues, that is a really pretty marbled one. I love these blushes. They don't last for me quite as long as the 12-hour Amazonian Clay blush does. I don't know where they go, so to speak, but it doesn't quite last as long for me. But this is a really excellent formula, especially for, I find, for textured skin, it's going to look really, really good with, because it doesn't like bring out all the texture. It just goes onto your skin so beautifully, and I feel like it's got a wee bit more moisture to it than a typical powder does. And I know that doesn't make sense, but that's how it goes onto my skin. It's just really, really pretty. Let me swatch this one for you. It's not super drying. It builds up really well. It's super pigmented from the very get, but it blends out so beautifully on the skin. I just love this formula. The next thing I wanted to talk about is bronzers, and I only found one that I really kept going back to, and I don't think it's because it was in my project pan. I just feel like it's because it is a bronzer that I absolutely love, and it is kind of a cult favorite here on the YouTubes, and it is the Murmura Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. You can see there is a giant dip in it right there where I have panned it. It started out the year almost panned, and it was panned pretty quickly into the year. I do find, however, during the summer when I am darker, I can't quite make this work for me. But that's only 3 or 4 months out of the year. The rest of the year it works pretty awesome. I've went back to using it like a couple months ago. What I can say about this is I hate the packaging because it breaks. This is not the first one I've heard of that has broken packaging. It's not the best packaging on the planet, but it is the only bronzer that I have on my list, and it was the same bronzer that I had in my favorites last year. So obviously it's just one of those bronzers that kind of sticks with me. The next thing I have is lipstick, and I did put it into 2 different categories. I did a liquid lipstick and a bullet lipstick, and the reason why I did that is because liquid and bullet are completely different. And the bullet lipsticks that I have are 2. I have the Lorac Alter Ego bullet lipstick. This was on my 2017 favorites video as well. It is a nice creamy formula. It is a beautiful formula. It is really super pigmented. It lasts for quite some time, and when it starts to like dissipate off my lips, it doesn't dissipate in a horrible fashion. The second one is the Kat Von D Studded. I know Kat Von D is canceled or whatever, but I really love her studded lipstick formula. Really close second for me on the lines of this is like the Urban Decay Vice formula. I think that that is an amazing formula as well. This lipstick is just so creamy, and I don't find that it moves around in this color. It's just super perfect. This is of course in the shade Lolita, and it is one that I gave away in my giveaway that I did like when I hit 100 subscribers. I love the shade. I love the formula. It feels comfortable. You don't feel like you've got, you know, this mess of lipstick on your face, and therefore it became really quickly, it became one of my favorites. The other formula, the liquid formula, I actually have 3 because one of them I just started trying, so I thought I needed to go with 2 that I have tried throughout the year. The first one is Ofra. Ofra was one that came to me pretty early in 2017 or 2018, and I fell in love with it. But I have found that I love the Huda Beauty formula better. This one is just a deluxe sample size. It actually came in a lip kit by her, and this one is in the shade Muse, and I love her lipstick formula. The reason why I love her liquid lipstick formula is because it stays wet enough immediately that I can mess around with it. I'm kind of a hot mess when I'm putting on liquid lipstick, so it stays wet enough that I can mess around with it in the beginning, but then it dries down matte, and it dries down so beautifully, and it stays so long. I can eat it. I can wear it through eating and, you know, drinking coffee and whatnot, and it stays on my lips really beautifully. And when it starts to dissipate off my lips, it doesn't create that nasty ring that a lot of liquid lipsticks start creating. Another one that recently came to my collection, you guys would have seen the haul on it, was my Jeffree Star haul, and it is the Jeffree Star liquid lipsticks. I cannot believe how awesome this formula is. I cannot believe how much I love this liquid lipstick formula, and it stays on my lips forever. Like, I literally have to take it off. I've never had to reapply it once it's been applied, and it probably, if I had to be truthful, ended the year with this as my favorite liquid lipstick formula, but I hadn't had it long enough that I thought it was fair to put it in here as my favorite liquid lipstick formula. I can't say that today for some reason. So I did put in these 2 because I did work with these 2 quite a bit over the last year and found that these were my favorite. But this, man, you guys, his liquid lipstick formula is probably the best liquid lipstick formula I've come across. And it's so easy to remove. A lot of the other liquid lipsticks, these two included, I had to get a certain like liquid lipstick taker offer. I don't know what it's called, but use it specifically on my, and then put some oil on my lips, or lip oil on, and lips, you know, just take care of my lips afterwards. These ones didn't really dry them down as, or these two didn't dry them down as some other ones did, but I find that your lips feel just like a prune after you take liquid lipstick off, and this formula doesn't do that to me. I actually feel like my lips were more hydrated after I used this than they were before I used this. It also doesn't like soak into all the, you know, dry crackiness of your dry lips if you have dry lips and you did not, you know, exfoliate them before putting it on. So those were my liquid lipstick formulas that I preferred over the last year. As far as lip liner goes, my favorite goes to the Huda Beauty formula. I love this liquid lipstick. Liquid lipstick. I love this pencil. It's super creamy. It blends well. It's this right here. That is just the shade of this one. I do have like 3 or 4 of these guys, and I love them. I use them quite often as lipstick in and of themselves because they're just so comfortable to use. I don't find any skipping with it. I find that I can overline or or just line right on, and it looks really good no matter what. I love this lip liner. This is a great lip liner. So as far as gloss goes, I have 3 Buxom, which was in my favorites last year. Is one that I carry in my purse every single day. It is my end all speak all holy grail liquid, lip gloss formula. Liquid lip gloss formula. It is my end all speak all lip gloss formula, but I found 2 this year that I actually love as well. They're not plumping though, which the Buxom one is. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills lip gloss formula. These ones are super opaque. They go on beautifully. They're not sticky. They work really well. Their longevity though isn't fabulous, but I haven't found a lip gloss yet that I think the longevity is fabulous. The second one is this Becca Glow Gloss, and I do have 2 shades of this. This stuff goes on, it is a little bit sticky, but it's not bad, and it lasts longer than the Anastasia Beverly Hills one. I do find that it is prettier than the Anastasia Beverly Hills one, in my opinion. This one has like reflect in it, but it isn't glittery, so it's not like super gritty. I find that the ones that I get that are like reflective from ABH are a little bit gritty. But overall, Buxom is my absolute favorite. It was my favorite last year as well. The next thing I have on here is lip balms. The Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask is my favorite lip balm this year. I don't find that it dries my lips out. I don't find, which a lot of lip balms do for me, which is like counterproductive, right? So you don't want that. I love the smell of it. I love this one in particular. I do have a couple of other ones that they were part of a set that I got, and it was only $28 for the set, and it came with a full size of this and then 3 of the sample sizes of different flavors. I haven't tried those ones yet. I'm anxious to try them, but I put this on every night before I go to bed, and then I put it and wake up with super supple, nice, plump, juicy lips. And then I also put it on again while I'm doing my makeup, especially if I'm going to be using a liquid lipstick, so that I create the hydration there and then wipe it off before I put the liquid lipstick on. I find that this is amazing. This was something that was I don't know when this came out, but it was super hyped up over this last year that I know of, and I purchased it because of a video I watched by Lisa Stevens, I think it was. I also have a water mask by them that's pretty amazing for your face, for your skin. So Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask for lip balm is the balm. And it comes with a little like scooper so that you don't have to dig your fingers into this container, and it's a lot more sanitary. The next thing I have on here is highlight. And if those of you that are here today have been around my channel for a while, you should know that this was going to show up on here. It is the Fenty Beauty Kilowatt highlighters. This one is my favorite. It is in Lightning Dust and Fire Crystal, and you can see the large dent that I made in this highlighter this year. This highlighter over here, which is the Fire Crystal side, is the most amazing highlighter I have ever seen on my face. It goes on, it's not super powdery, it just has this wonderful, beautiful look to it. I don't know if you guys can see it right there. It basically gives me like a wet highlight look, and which I appreciate because of mature skin. You're always afraid to put super, you know, glittery powders on your face, but this is not glittery at all. I did also get the Diamond Balm in this same formula, and I don't love it as much, but I do like it a lot. The other formula of highlight that I tried this year for the first time is these Ofra highlighters. So like this one here and this one here are both Ofra highlighters. I can't remember which ones. This one is obviously, it's Rodeo Drive, and this one is, I want to, wait, Rodeo Drive, and this one is, I don't know. I don't know what they are, but these highlighters are beautiful. This one, I don't spend a whole lot of time like swirling it all together, because when you do, it's just this really like peachy toned one, and I don't really prefer that. But when you just pick one up all on its own, this is it. The one thing I can say about these highlighters is I find them to be a lot more powdery looking on my skin than say the Fenty ones. So the Fenty would definitely be my number one, but Ofra is an amazing second place. I don't get the hype of them as much as has been all over the tubes. They are beautiful, but I find that they are a little more powdery than what's boasted out there. So if you're not into powdery, but this is what they look like on my fingers, and that is actually how they end up on your skin, on your face. So the next thing I have on my list is foundation, and I know that this is the same foundation that I claimed was the best last year. But this is also the only foundation that I 100% love, 100% love on my face. Do no wrong, does no wrong to me, helps me out every single time. Anytime I have a problem, I know I can fix it with this, and that is the Too Faced Peach Perfect Comfort Matte Foundation. It is my holy grail foundation. It will forever be my holy grail foundation. I have never ever had a problem with this and how it works on my skin. I have a hard time using other foundations because I just know that this is the one that I will continue to go back to. But I do want to find another one. What if they discontinue this? What if they no longer have this anymore? What if? I am in the shade Warm Nude, and during the summer sometimes I have to deepen it up a little bit, but during the winter it's a really pretty perfect shade for me. I've been mixing it with a little more of a lighter shade of a different foundation just to get some use out of that foundation, but it's pretty perfect. It is. I have talked one of my friends into starting to use it, so I love it, and I don't see any reason for me to not love it, if that makes any sense. The next thing I have on my list is concealers. So I actually have two concealers on my list, and the first one is the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. I love this concealer. It says full coverage anti-aging waterproof concealer. It is waterproof. I don't know about its anti-aging properties. It is full coverage. I love this concealer, and I use it quite frequently. This is a backup to the one I just ran out of. I am in the shade medium, light medium. It's just not a whole, they just changed their shade range on it. So I'm anxious to try their new shade range. This one I would say is not 100% my color. So I actually got this from a friend who got a couple bottles in a quasi PR package. We're not exactly sure what was going on there. But this is the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer, and I've actually fallen in love with this. Number one, it's super inexpensive for the amount of product you get. This is like the size of, it's 15 ml, so 0.5 fluid ounces, so it's half the size of a foundation, and it is amazing concealer. It reminds me a lot of Tarte Shape Tape on my face without being as drying as Tarte Shape Tape. I hate Tarte Shape Tape because of how dry it is on my under eyes, and I can use this every single day. And this is in the color Swan, which I thought was going to be probably way too light for me, but it actually works really well with my skin tone. I don't know how, it's so light, but I love this stuff. I've actually thought about buying deeper shades to conceal with, not conceal with, to contour with, as well as having lighter shades for eye brightening and under eye usage. It is also full coverage. It works really well, and you can use it to conceal, contour, highlight, and retouch. It's an amazing concealer. And the amount of product in here is crazy. And I think this guy is like $29, I want to say. It's super inexpensive for the amount of product that you get for a concealer. With that being said, I am on the hunt for a cheaper concealer, so I have heard a lot about the ColourPop concealer that I thought I would try. It's $6. So with that being said, this is super expensive. The next thing I have on here is primer. This is my holy grail from last year. It is the Laura Geller Spackle Treatment Soothing Makeup Primer, or any one of her different kinds of primers. This is my everything primer. I love these primers. She does an amazing job with primers. I feel like they go on the skin beautifully. There's 2 ounces in here, and a lot of primers only come with 1 ounce, and they're super expensive. They're only $30 for 2 ounces, and she has a line that has like 8 different kinds of primers that you can get, one of which is this one, but there's also Ethereal, which is a really pretty dewy, lit from within thought process underneath your makeup. There's also, just a regular one, a hydrating one. There's like 8 or 9 different ones that you can get in this line. This is an amazing primer, and it is the same one that was on my favorites list last year. This year I also fell in love with another one, and it is the Dr. Brandt Pores No More Luminizer Primer, and I love this. So Kathleen Lights actually has a video that she ranted and raved about this. Everything looks beautiful on top of this. Everything looks beautiful on top of this. I had a foundation last year, the L'Oreal Pro Matte, Infallible Pro Matte. I hated that foundation, but it also looked amazing on top of this primer. What I have to say is, though, this primer is $38 and there's only 1 ounce of it, and it's not worth it, in my opinion. I would not promote it just because of the price tag of it and the amount of product that you get when you can get almost the same thing in one of these for a far less price tag and way more product. But this is a beautiful primer. It is like skin toned. This one hasn't been used. I did pick this up with points from BoxyCharm, and the first one I received this year was from BoxyCharm as well. But I just went through this so fast. I use face primer every single day. 1 ounce of product doesn't last me very long, and this one I felt like it was thick enough that I had to use a little bit more product than I normally would, but it is beautiful. It's a beautiful primer, and everything goes on top of it so beautifully. The next thing I have on here is eye primer, and the one eye primer that I found myself going back to all year long was the Milani eyeshadow primer. This goes on your eyes. It's kind of tacky, so a lot sticks to it, so you don't really have to go in, like if you're doing a halo eye or a cut crease, you don't really have to go in with another eye primer because this one is tacky, but you have to let it sit for a good 30 seconds before you can put something on top of it, and that's kind of annoying. So I don't use it when I am, you know, getting ready for work, but it is a wonderful eye primer. I don't find that very much creases on my eyes when I am using this, so it became my favorite rather quickly this year. The next thing on my list is setting sprays, and as you all know, this is my holy grail. This has been my holy grail forever, and this was on my list last year as far as setting sprays that I loved. I also have tried out a lot of setting sprays this year, and this is the one that I keep going back to. I do want to try and find a more dewy setting spray that I love. I'm trying out a couple right now. I'm hoping that I love them, but all of them seem to be like so fragranced, and I don't understand that, to be honest. So this one, it doesn't smell bad. It's not fragranced like super bad. It is long lasting. It keeps all of my makeup in place for like ever. It does sit on my windowsill right next to my mirror, and I use it to foil eyeshadows. I use it to set my face. I use it for everything. So it is my holy grail. It will probably continue to be my holy grail, and I buy them 2 at a time so that I never run out. The next thing on my list is actually brow products, and I kind of fell in love with the NYX brow products this year. So I actually have 2 of the micro brows, which I find to be roughly the same formula as the Brow Wiz, only half the cost. The Brow Wiz is $21. These are 10, and they come in so many shades, and I like their pigmentation a lot more than I like the Brow Wiz pigmentation. I don't know that I picked up the right colors this time around. I do tend to use 2 or 3 different colors in my brows. One is chocolate and one is auburn. Those are these pencils. I like the auburn one in this formula better than I like the auburn one in the ABH formula. The other one that I get from them is the precision brow pencil, and it's kind of like a rectangle tip on it, and I just use it to fill. And that one is in the color espresso, and it's there on top. I just use the 3 different shades in my brows to make like my tail darker, my front portion like a little less dark, and then I sparsely put the auburn through it so that it matches my hair just a little bit. I love that brow product. I don't find myself tugging at my brows, although today when I was looking at this chocolate one, I found a couple of my brow hairs in there, which is like off-putting because those don't, you know, those take forever to grow. So the next thing I have on my list is eyeliners. So this is my holy grail, which is the Smashbox Always On eyeliner. I do have this also in 2 different categories, pencil and liquid. This is my holy grail Smashbox Always On eyeliner, and it is just my black everyday eyeliner. I love this formula. I love it more than Urban Decay. Urban Decay's, when I buff it out, it feels a lot more navy colored to me than it does black, their perversion. So I get fishnet in the Smashbox Always On. It is black. It buffs out black. It's beautiful. But one that I fell in love with this year is the Marc Jacobs highliners. I don't know if you guys have tried these, but these are amazing pencils. They come in all different kinds of finishes and shades, and they're just beautiful, and they go on beautifully, and they buff out beautifully, and they stay where you put them, which is primo, right? Nobody likes to go into the bathroom later in the day and find your eyeliner has moved into the corner of your eye. That's just not pretty. So those are beautiful. What I like most about these is they are retractable, so they spin up and then back down. You can push them up and down, which is nice. They're not, you don't have to sharpen them, but they do also come with a sharpener at the end of the pencil that you can pull off and sharpen if you need a tighter line. So those are amazing. The other thing is liquid, and I had only one liquid in here, and it's because I've repurchased it multiple times this year, and it is the Absolute New York Double Trouble. This is the most inexpensive item, I believe, in this whole plethora of stuff, because I get it from TJ Maxx. It is like $3.99, maybe $4.99, and it is a dual-ended. It has a fat end and it has a thin end to it, and it is the most amazing liquid eyeliner I have tried. With the fat end, I can just stamp my wing on and bring it down into a thicker line, and then use the thin end in the corners and move it out to connect the two. I just find that it is the most amazing. It dries black, matte black, and it is matte black. A lot of liquid eyeliners I found they didn't dry matte black, or they started out too liquidy and then therefore feathered into the texture of my eye. This one did not do that, and it is, like I said, probably $3.99, and I get it at TJ Maxx. So the last thing I have on my list is eyeshadows, and I have like a few different categories that I put eyeshadow into since I wasn't doing palettes. In this video I have like eyeshadow singles, cream eyeshadows, jelly eyeshadows, liquid eyeshadows, loose eyeshadows, and glitters. So I'm just going to go through those. I don't really have them here. It's really hard to bring all this stuff up into my little mess here. But I have, as far as singles, my favorite singles this year would have had to have been Sydney Grace singles or ColourPop singles. Probably though, Sydney Grace. Sydney Grace was probably my number one. They are super pigmented. They are super affordable. The company is amazing, and it's just a couple of sisters and their kids and their husbands all coming in together to make this work. And they just recently put out their very first palette, but I went crazy with them in June and bought a whole bunch of stuff, and find that those singles are just amazing to work with. They're so beautifully pigmented. If you try one single in your life, try Sydney Grace. They're amazing. I have cream eyeshadows on this list as well, and Sydney Grace is also the winner takes all of my cream eyeshadows. I found that the cream eyeshadows that I got from them were the only ones that I got throughout the year that didn't crease on my eyes, and actually were just as pigmented the time I put them on as they were like 5 hours later. They didn't like flake off. They were awesome, and I could blend them out, which was not something I could do with other cream eyeshadows that I had tried from other brands. I also have jelly eyeshadows on here. Now, this was not something that was super popular this year, but I know that there are a couple brands that kind of delved into the jelly eyeshadow mix. But the first one that I tried this year was the Butter London lip glosses, or eyeglasses. Lip glosses. The Butter London eyeglasses, and I got the shade Unicorn, and I loved it. It was super sheer though, so I used it on top of other eyeshadows, which I didn't find worked well for the most part, but it did work well sometimes. I loved using it as a highlight. I could just dab it onto my cheeks, and it was beautiful that way and on its own. It was the jelly consistency and really weird feeling at first, very cooling, which feels good on your eyes for the most part. But that was my favorite of all of the different jelly eye products that came out this year. As far as liquid eyeshadows go, I have to say that Cover FX and Essence were my two favorites. I do have a video that I did comparing a bunch of liquid eyeshadows together, and I will link that in the cards as well. Cover FX, their shimmer veils, I think they're called, Cover FX shimmer veils, are stunning. They are stunning. I got Amethyst in a BoxyCharm, and ended up going and purchasing all kinds of other ones because I just love the formula of that. They are like super sheer for the most part. They go on beautifully. They go on beautifully over the top of other shadows to give them a little more kickback to their color. The Essence Metal Shocks are super opaque. They're really great. They do crease a little bit. I found that they creased a little bit, whereas the Cover FX didn't so much. I love them both, and one's kind of high end and the other one is a very affordable makeup. The next thing I have on here is loose eyeshadows, and I found that I was diving back into my Bare Minerals loose eyeshadows more often than not this last year. They just work really well. And I find that they worked better for me than a lot of other loose eyeshadows that I might have picked up along the way. And then we, of course, have glitters. So Stila would be the one that I used this year, that I used more, that I fell in love with, that I had to purchase more of. What I will say about Stila's, though, is that her glitters just kind of fall all over your face, so it's better to use a glitter glue with those if you're going to use them. You guys, thank you so much. If you are still here, thank you for sticking it out until the very end. I hope that you found some favorites of yours in and amongst my favorites, and if not, that's cool too. Let me know what your favorites were down in the comments section. I am so happy to have had you here, and I hope that you were able to make it through. Let me know what your favorites were down in the comments section. I'd be interested to hear, and if you have a video like this out and you're a creator and you want me to go see it, let me know where that video is located so I can go watch your video as well. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope that you had a wonderful New Year's, a very safe New Year's, and I hope that 2019 brings more makeup stellarness to our lives, as well as other things. I saw a little meme on Facebook that said this was going to be my best year, so I hope that that comes true. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Until next time, bye guys.